Welcome to In Real Time, where we as Heights Church are inviting you in for real conversations about leading people, organizations, and change in the new normal. We're hoping that our real discussions about our church's journey will help you as you reimagine and rebuild yours. Craig here, and welcome to In Real Time, where we're having real conversations about leading people, organization, and change. Well, today we're going to be picking up our conversation on longevity. We're talking about staying in a place instead of looking for a reason to leave. Well, we're asking a different question. What if I stayed? Well, I've got two co-hosts with me, so I'm going to let you two introduce yourselves.
I'm Jennifer Alessio, and I serve as the children's pastor here at Heights Church.
Very cool, very cool.
And I'm Ryan Connolly, and I serve as the worship and oversee production here at Heights Church as well.
Nice. It's been quite a while since you've been on an episode. Were you banned? Is that what happened?
You know, I don't make the calls on who come on the show, Craig.
That's not true. You were helping out in some other ways, but we got a way to bring you back on. We're happy to have you.
Yeah.
So we are assuming for the purposes of this podcast that there are good reasons for people to leave. We state this at the beginning of each one of these because we're not trying to make people feel bad about things. We're just trying to make people think maybe a little differently about it. There's a lot of conversation about leaving organizations out there right now. And we know a lot of people are doing that. And that translates to churches as well. And so we realize that there are times where God says, hey, it's time, go ahead and leave. And we get it. I came here because God made that apparent to me. He spoke to my heart, go plant a church, Craig. And so I did. And so I get that. And we also come to places where we realize this is not a good fit. This is never going to be a good fit. And they don't want me to be a good fit. So I think it might be a good time for me to be released and go find a really good fit. So we realize there are some good reasons for people to leave, but there's also some good reasons to stay. And we've unpacked those in past episodes, the real benefits of staying, and there are a lot of them actually. And truthfully, many of them you can't get. They're things we want, but you can't get them unless you do stay long enough that they rise to the surface. And so we've been having this conversation. It's been really good, really strong, really healthy. And we are going to be talking about the last item on our must-have list today. So there is a list we made. There's actually 10 items on the list. Must-haves for healthy longevity. And so we're going to talk about number 10. We're going to unpack that one today. But just for reference, if you happen to miss the last episode, can you tell us what the first 9 are? We're just going to blow through these. We're going to go really quick. And then Pastor Jennifer, I know you work with kids and you're just really, really calm and you're so polite, but you're going to have to talk over us in order to get in on this list, okay?
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to let you start off. Ready, go.
So the first is being healthy. Emotionally and spiritually.
Love it. Number 2, conflict resolution versus remaining in conflict. We must have these things for healthy longevity. Number 3.
Solve problems.
Yeah. Let's not leave them unresolved. That's good. That's good. Other things?
The 4th is more ideas than your own and permission to share them.
We got to give permission to other people to share them. That's good. It's good. What else?
And this one here, I like this one a lot. A team you can count on to carry the vision. If you don't have longevity, you don't have that team.
That's right.
You don't experience all the good things that come from that.
That's right. You just don't. Number 6, good and life-giving relationships. We need those so people can be alongside you, friendship, encouragement. Who doesn't need that? We all need encouragement. Yeah, absolutely. Number 7.
Patience and long-suffering and the waiting.
Oh, yeah. We got to have patience.
There's that word,
There's going to be waiting. It's just a reality.
For answers.
And you must have it. You must have it.
And for the right people.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
pieces to come together.
That's right. We also need fresh vision at the right moments, and God is always good to bring it, but I have got to make myself available for it. And then number 9.
Our favorite word around here, clarity.
It is our favorite.
It is our favorite
We
word.
should have a T-shirt that just says clarity.
We have a lot of
what?
t-shirt
A black
ideas.
one.
I
A
like
black
that.
one with white lettering.
I like it.
And maybe a box around it.
Ooh, like
that
with bold
really could
font,
be.
like
That
thick
really could be.
paintbrush strokes.
Or
Yeah.
just clarity with a period.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Simplistic,
We
minimalist.
literally ask this question, I think, in every staff meeting on Mondays. Is there anything that's not clear? Because we want clarity.
Yep.
That's good. All right.
Yep.
So all of this is what we talked about in previous episodes. But today we're going to be really looking in on number 10. Number 10 is what we're going to unpack today. Must have for leadership longevity. We must have this, number 10. And so what is number 10 on the must have list?
It's the ability to reinvent or reimagine your current circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot.
That
to
is
unpack
a
right there.
lot. There is a lot to unpack there. But I think the reason that this is a must-have, and I'm just going to say this because I think other people might be afraid to say this, or maybe we don't want to say it out loud because you think, that sounds so unspiritual. That can't be right. Things get stale.
They do.
Things get stagnant. Boy, you jumped in on that really quick. I'm proud of you. You're just really pushing in there, Pastor Jennifer. You're going to be unpolite by the time we're done. This is
I
going
don't
to
know
be
about
great.
that.
All right. But things do get stale. They do get stagnant.
Yeah.
They get well-worn, predictable. Whatever word you want to use, they get to the place where things kind of get boring.
They do.
Right? It happens.
Sounds like the Kings these last 16 years.
Oh.
Sorry. Sorry, I had to say that. I had
Hey,
to
they're
say
in the
that.
playoffs right now
They're
as
doing
we're
really
shooting this
well right
episode.
I love them,
so
but I
who
was
knows
just
Even I
what's
know.
going to
know.
happen. Pastor Bronson's going to be upset with you. All right, so I am in no way, shape, or form trying to say that the work of God is boring. I'm not trying to say
No,
that,
it's
but
not.
but we can get there as leaders where we just do the routine things, and that's not a God problem. That's a me problem, because I get to the place where I am no longer seeing my reality and what I'm leading through fresh eyes.
Yeah, that's really
That's not a
good.
God problem. That's a me problem. God's always trying to download fresh vision to me
Right.
and help me to reimagine. God's reimagining my life story all the time because I keep getting diverted.
Yeah.
And he reimagines me back on the path and redeems me back into that place and into good decisions. He's doing that for all of us constantly, right? It's up to me to join him in that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when I look at it in that way as a leader, so don't throw stones at me because I admitted that things can get stagnant at times.
No, we're proud of you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But
I mean,
she's really coming out of her
She
shell.
is.
This
I
great.
know. I
This is
love
great.
it. But I
Love
mean,
it.
like, I like that you're bringing that up because I think a lot of leaders, they get to a point where they're stagnant because they're not asking the Lord or they're not setting time aside to get that help they need,
Yeah.
inspiration from the Spirit to reimagine things.
I agree.
So you're so caught up in the day-to-day routine. You're so caught up after putting one fire out after another. You know, I think this is really important. I'm glad that
Yeah.
you're bringing this up. I think this is critical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that what happens is we do get into these stale places, these stagnant waters, and we think, you know, that church over there, that organization over there looks so much better. And really, it just looks different. It just looks different. And so, so I remember I was at a gathering that our conference required me to go to, our denomination, and it was something where they bring together your personality traits, giftings, and all these things, and then they basically say, okay, you took all these tests. We're going to tell you who you are and what makes you tick, and we're going to ask you some questions to make sure you're healthy. And so, kind of going through that process. And I remember talking to the psychologist, which is really weird. They've got this file on you and it's pretty thick. And, you feel like they've stared into your soul. And she says, I read your file and I've just been so curious to talk to you because you shouldn't be where you're at. And I said, what are you talking about? She goes, you planted your church. And I said, well, yeah, I planted the church. She goes, yeah, but you've been there now long enough that you should have left.
How long ago was this? When did this happen?
Oh, this was just about 5 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay,
And she said, and I said, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? I didn't want to leave. She goes, I know. She goes, and that's what intrigues me. I don't understand. Church planters often plant. They love the excitement of planting, but they don't like managing it, leading it long term. And you've been there now long enough that you should have gotten antsy and already left, because that's what you typically see. And she said, I just wanted to ask you why. And are you looking to go? Am I catching you in that transition right now? And I said, no.
Wow.
No. And what I realized in that conversation, which was really good for me to have had pointed out to me, is that there's something that my mind just does that I tend to just kind of work my way into naturally, which is I reimagine my circumstances on a pretty regular basis.
That's very true.
And you guys experience this because I come in, I don't know how often, it's at least once a year, if not twice. And I'll just say, okay, guys, it's time to blow it all up. We just need to blow this whole thing up and reimagine it. What should it look like? Because I'm not going to assume it's all perfect right now.
Right.
And I just want to keep making it better. I'm assuming it's good.
Yeah.
But I want to get it to where it's great.
Right.
I want to get as high and close to excellent as possible.
Right.
Not because of us. It's not an ego thing. It's I want this to be as successful and impactful in our city and in our generation as can be. And I know that asking how can we make it better is how we get there.
And that makes a lot of sense, because what have you said after COVID? Mm-hmm. It's like we're planning a new church again.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, you've said that countless times. I mean, that makes sense.
That's so true.
That makes sense why you would take what you heard from that lady psychologist and be like, well, after COVID, we're basically replanning a church.
Yeah.
Because of what happened.
I'm going to be honest with you. I had to put myself in that place in order to stay and to keep driving forward. I needed to reimagine, because this thing was way too painful. There was way too much loss, so much grief, and so steep a mountain climb. Hey, we were all on it. We did it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was so hard that I had to reimagine it as a church plant. And honestly, it was the closest thing I could come to what we actually functionally had to do every day.
Yep.
How I thought of it, what my workload now looked like, the people I needed to meet with, the way I spoke to our congregation, all of it, the way we were going to innovate around our problems. I had to think of it as a fresh church plant. But it did give me fresh vision.
That's
Which
right.
was really galvanizing for us as a staff. And from my perspective, that's exciting when you want to blow things up. Because if you're feeling bored, we're feeling bored too.
Glad.
So I'm like, great. Let's talk about all those things that we can improve upon.
Yeah.
What can we do better? How can we find a different way to reach people?
Yeah.
And that's exciting. So,
I'm glad y'all think that way. Otherwise, I know you'd be really frustrated working here.
Oh.
I try not to frustrate people. And I don't want to change things just for change's sake.
No,
that
you
can be
don't.
so frustrating.
That's so unhealthy.
And
I
I
don't
think-
mean that.
Yeah.
and I think that is also important. When you say blow up, you're not really mean blowing up.
No. We're not talking about bombs.
We're not talking about bombs,
not at all.
obviously, but we still roughly are still a life groups church.
Yeah.
Children's
Yes. Oh,
ministry
yeah.
still runs
Right.
the same. Students still roughly is the same.
Yes. Our
But we're-
culture still
our culture
the same.
is still the
Our
same.
values.
Still intact.
Our
Yep.
values are still intact.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
just what is the fresh vision?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's so
and
true. It's
how
good.
can we improve upon something that's already really, really good?
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that out. Yeah, it's really, really good. So I think when it comes to long-term leaders, when she asked me that question, it helped me realize that I stay here because here always seems fresh to me. It feels like I'm planting again. And I'd gone through this reinvention, if you will, or reimagining, I don't know how many times before we even got to COVID.
Right.
Because, in the early years of the church plant, there's all kinds of excitement and it's a lot of challenge. And I thrive in high challenge environments. And so managing something, I don't care what size it is. You can give me something massive. Hey, manage this. And I'm going to say, that's boring. The answer is no. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I'm not looking for the easy way out.
Right.
I want to meet the challenge.
Right.
That's fun for me. Yeah. And so, of course, it's frustrating as well, but it's fun to pull the train wreck apart, to solve the puzzle, to untie the knot. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
So as long as you can reimagine you find yourself in a fresh place. And so I cannot say enough how I think this is so important to longevity in any one place. As I've talked with other senior leads specifically, I think this is a real key to helping them. And I know for people who are now trying to come out of COVID and stayed where they are, they're trying to figure it out. Because let's face it, all of our numbers are less. I don't care what the number is. It's less.
Yes.
So there's nothing on the sheet of paper that we list that says, oh, that's all better. It's like, no. But we can reimagine it and realize that there is now the ability to move forward. And that's critical. And so reimagining is exactly what I think a lot of us need.
That's such a good perspective.
Now. Right now. If you haven't already done it, then this is when we want to do it. So there's a couple of questions that I think are really key for us in this to bring fresh vision. These are just some questions that I think have helped me. They've helped us. And I know that for senior leaders, this is something we need to go through. But I think for all leaders, we need to go through this fresh vision. Because I know things can get stagnant. Things can, challenges weren't met. One thing I appreciate about you, Jennifer, is that you've been with us now for over 6 years. And
7 at the end of May.
7 at the end of May. So 7 years.
Yeah.
And so we've had a couple of disappointments when it comes to our children's wing renovation.
Yeah.
And oftentimes people could look at that and say, well, we didn't meet the goal. COVID completely derailed the last one, and we weren't able to renovate the rooms in the way that we wanted to. And it would be easy to just take that disappointment. It would feel like I'm stagnant. It's stale. But you never bring that sense. And I feel like this is something that you're able to bring, that you do. And I know that you and I, when we talk about coming back at it, which we're doing that right now, you're able to imagine it fresh. Can you just kind of unpack that for me as a staff person, how this works for you too?
Well, particularly about the renovation piece, when a couple of times we've had to rethink our vision for it, really.
Yeah.
I look at it, okay, first I look at, well, this is a disappointment, and so I need to grieve that loss. And I know that when I skip over that part, it'll come back later. So I make sure that I do that. And then I ask God, okay, what can we do with what we have? And he's always wonderful to give me fresh vision. That's amazing. That's just as good or even better than before.
I love that. It's good.
And then about my heart and being able to stay excited about children's ministry after being in the same church. I'm very similar to you. I like a problem. I like a challenge. I think I'm a planter builder type person. So give me a problem, I'm going to fix it. I'm always looking at how can I make this better? What can we improve upon? What leader can I help grow? And that will inspire me. Because the truth is, if I'm feeling bored, then I've stopped looking. And I know that for myself. I know it's a me problem, but I need to be in a healthy place where I can imagine, or I can realize that, yes, it's me. It's not my church. It's not my boss. It's not the staff. It's not my team. It's me.
And I think that's really
well said.
Really well said. Yeah, I agree with you. And so important, because I know there are leaders listening in who've gone through disappointments. We've all experienced them. And the last 3 years have served up a lot more than the normal meal. But when we find ourselves in that kind of disillusionment, stale, stagnant, whatever word we want to use, we've demotivated, it would be easy to say, oh, it's the place. But it isn't.
It's not.
It's not. And we can reimagine this. We can reinvent this to now move forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't have to go somewhere else to do it.
Man, that's hard to hear.
It is.
You know, it's not the place.
It's not.
It's
like
not
that,
always the
it's
place.
not always a place.
Right.
Sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is.
It can be.
Right.
But we're assuming in this situation it's not.
It's not. No.
Yeah.
There was just circumstances outside of your control of, you know, things that happened around the church and our country that led to those disappointments. So, but that's a tough pill for some people to swallow. I can imagine. So,
Yeah, no, I think it can be. I think it definitely can be, but it's a good thing for us to be thinking about, and I think that you've modeled that really, really well. I think when it comes to the idea of fresh vision, the question here that I would throw out a couple of these: if I could start all over again, what would it look like?
Yeah,
That's a great
fun
question, because it just allows you to whiteboard this whole thing, white space this whole thing from the very beginning. Are there things that I wish were different? Well, good. Lead. Make it different. Let's get there. You can do that. You're in charge. Why should it look like that? Hey, if you can prove to yourself that a change needs to be made, then lead. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's get everybody on board and let's move that direction.
Yeah.
And I want to say this too, that often we think about vision and we're like, I don't know what God's telling me. I think it's really key that we realize that God placed us there. Ryan, he placed you here. And I know that when we're going through the interview process and you came from another place, so you left somewhere to come here.
Yep.
And when you came here, you were given a lot more responsibility. And we have, I think just this wonderful vision that you and I share for worship ministries. And as you're coming, we're realizing that you really have the gifts, the skills, you embody the vision itself. God's already placed it in you, which is why we recognized it and said, oh, man, you got to come and be a part of our team because this makes sense. It's like your heart for this is the same heart we have. And so you see that. And I think for us as leaders, when we second guess God's vision, we need to realize that our personalities, our gift mix are part of God's vision. He placed you here because he wanted it to happen through you. He's trusting you and your skills, your gifts, in order to accomplish what he's put in your heart.
Right.
And so, part of vision gathering is realizing it also is going to work through me and my experiences and what I want. And so that's critical. So when we're thinking about what should it look like, well, what do you love?
Yeah.
What would you love to see?
Yeah.
Start there. So I think that's really important. I think another one is new challenges. Sometimes we leave places because we feel like, oh, I've already taken every hill. That's ridiculous.
There's always more to do.
There's always another hill to take.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
If we are not challenged, that means we are not challenging ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
And all we need to really do is gather 5 people in a room and say, okay, do you guys see any hills? Because I'm not seeing any hills right now. And they're going to tell you at least 10. 10 hills that could be taken today. Let's choose which one first.
Yep.
So I think there's a better question than should I leave? I think it's what could be done if I stayed?
I love that question.
Yeah, what could be done if I stayed? I love that. What version of this place would I want to stay for? That's a great question.
Good.
It's a great,
It's just helping me understand here and there, right? And that creates a whole new, fresh challenge for me.
Yeah.
And I love that. That invigorates me. That gets me excited. And then who could help with that? That's about joining. That's about new people. Both of you have been the answer to that question for me. That's how we're building this dream team. I love it. They want it as much as I do. The answer was yes. And so we're like, well, then let's do this. And so that's really, really wonderful. And then sometimes we just need a fresh undertaking as well about, can I do something better? Now, I know this is part of our culture here. How often do we ask that question?
Every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
Every meeting?
Every day.
Every conversation?
Yeah. And it's not really frustrating, right? I mean, it's
it's part of our culture. Yeah.
We all enjoy that.
Yeah.
You know what I've realized, Craig, is that everyone who's on your pastoral staff, we all have the ability to manage, to build and then manage, but we don't stay there.
Right.
We don't stay there. We're part of. I'm thinking about this right now. Every single one of us on our pastoral staff is a builder.
Oh, that's good.
And a visionary. Right. But obviously, you're the chief visionary, and so we are more than happy to partner alongside you and say, okay, let's do this together. Let's run the race. So I don't know. It just kind of hit me as we were talking, like, because I see how everyone else works together, and we're all great at what we do.
Yeah.
So
no, you guys are. You're
Yeah.
specialists in your field, and it's apparent, and it's why you're here. And what I love too is you have the ability to share vision. It's not about just what you want; it's about what we want.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Because
have
we
synergy.
talk about what we want for children's. We
Yep.
talk about what we want for worship.
Yep.
And it's not a me and you. It's not an us and them. It's a
No.
we.
Yep.
And we can do that without stepping on each other's toes. We just get to
Exactly.
dream together, which makes it way more fun.
Yep.
Agreed.
Keeps
Yeah.
it from being stagnant.
Yes, it keeps it from being stagnant. Yes, I love
Team
that.
is more fun.
It's way more fun. So, so this is it. When you think about a fresh undertaking, I got another couple of questions here that I think are great. What if you recommitted to a new season? What would that look like? What if I came to this place from another place? What would I change? Because I guarantee you, if you leave, somebody else is going to come in and they're going to identify a few things right away that they need to solve. They need to change. They want to go in a different direction.
Yep.
Well, how about you just reimagine where you're at now and let's do the same thing? Because as soon as you go to another place, you have to start all over with trust.
And
Because
it's
so
really
true.
hard.
you don't have any.
Oh man.
And
That's
it's a
another
lot
thing
of
that's hard to
work.
hear.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a lot of work.
You don't have any. Your title
Yeah.
does not give you
No,
trust.
titles mean nothing.
It's a title.
Yep.
Yeah, you're building trust.
Yep.
Yeah, why not take the trust you've earned, the reputation you've earned, and let's build from here.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So we're going to wrap this up quickly with an acrostic we use all the time here at Heights Church. It's a part of our culture.
It's on our game plan.
It's on our game plan. It's the acrostic ASPIRE. And ASPIRE is basically 6 things that jotted down years ago that I know are required of me. It's an expectation of me, and it's an expectation of all of us as staff, whether they're stated or not stated.
Yeah.
And so, again, it helps me think about what can I do to create a fresh vision and fresh, what am I going to do tomorrow that's fresh?
Exactly.
And so I can just walk through it this way. The A stands for attract. What new leaders can I attract to the ministry to accomplish great things? S stands for solving problems. What problems need to be solved? I'm living with some problems and I'm not solving them. Let's solve them.
That's good.
Let's do it.
Yep.
That gives me fresh vision.
Yep.
The P is paint vision. What new vision needs to be painted? What current vision needs to be painted better? Okay, that gives me something to do.
I like that.
The I stands for inspire. What can I inspire in other people to help accomplish greater things here in the ministry along with me? And then relationship. What relationships can I go chase down, grow deeper in? Oh yeah, there's something to do with any one of these as a part of the Aspire acrostic. And then the last one is E, equip. What can I equip somebody else to do, whether it's staff, volunteer, brand new person?
Right.
What can I equip them to do to accomplish either at a greater level or to accomplish for the first time? So when we walk through the Aspire acrostic, would be attract, solve problems, paint the picture, inspire, relationship, and equip.
He knows his stuff.
There's something there. There's a new way to think about those things. It's a new challenge for each one of them.
Yeah.
And that helps me reimagine and reinvent myself and the circumstances that I have. And that creates a fresh challenge for me.
Yeah.
That keeps me motivated in ministry. So anything you guys want to add to that when we're wrapping this one up?
No, I think I couldn't say any better.
All right. I like that. That sounds good to me. Well, thanks for joining me for a real conversation about leading people, organization, and change. And if you liked this podcast, please hit the like, subscribe, and the bell notification so you don't miss one episode as it drops. And join us next time for In Real Time.